A content creator I've watched for years, ChefZealand, came to experience the private dining concept I built from my own home. And I was stressing so hard, I was about to start screaming, yes! Bear with me now as I tell you a story. Last year, I met ChefZealand while I was working as a server at a Korean barbecue spot. At the time, I was only posting pictures of my food, just documenting my growth as a cook, and keep track of the things that I thought looked pretty on a plate, something I can show myself and maybe my kids in the future. I never planned on making videos, but after showing him some of what I was making, he told me I should start creating content around it. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but that small push changed everything. It pushed me to take cooking more seriously. It pushed me to think deeper about my food, my style, and what I actually wanted to build. And eventually, that became my vision. I call it Salu Mesa. It comes from the Filipino idea of salu salo. People gathering around one table, sharing food, staying longer than they planned because the conversation matters just as much as the meal. Growing up, food was never just food to me. It was how people showed care. It was how families stayed close, how stories were told, and how people who had nothing still found a way to make a table feel full. And this week, Chef Zealand sat at that table as a guest. And despite me hosting many dinners in the past, this was the dinner I was the most nervous for. Most people outside of the food industry just see the final plate, but they don't see the chaos behind it. The problem printing menus, forgetting to preheat my broth, and making sure that we have the proper portions for everything. And that part, the pressure, the problem solving, and all the teamwork involved, that's the real work. Because by the time the guests sit down, none of that should exist anymore. The goal is simple: make people feel taken care of, make the meal feel intentional, and make the table feel like somewhere they'll remember long after the last course leaves the kitchen. Having him there made that hit differently. Not because of clout, but because it reminded me how real this has become. Something that started with random food photos after work turned into something where people are trusting me with their time, their celebrations, and their memories. That means more than any perfect plate ever could. And honestly, none of this happened alone. From the people who believed in me before any of this looked real, to the people who kept pushing me while I was still figuring it out, to Chef Zealand for that early push, to my team behind Salu Mesa who helped carry this with me, and to everyone who's followed, supported, booked, and shared, or even just watched quietly from the beginning. Thank you. People think building something like this is about talent or food or perfect plates, but most of the time, it's really about people. The ones who open doors for you, the ones who remind you to keep going, and the ones who trust you before you fully even trust yourself. Salu Mesa exists because of that, because of community, because of belief, and because people chose to sit at the table. And for that, I'll always be grateful. It's cliche, but that is what Salu Mesa means to me. It's not just cooking, though I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's building something that people can feel. I say this from the bottom of my heart. Have fun cooking. Thanks for stopping by.
Does it have to be cinematic?